I suppose it started with an obsession, one that never felt entirely rational. The Cooper case. Oh, you know the one. 1971, Pacific Northwest. A man hijacks a plane, vanishes mid-air in a parachute with $200,000 and leaves behind only questions. Oh, and a tie clip. For most people, it was a headline, a bit of trivia. A mystery supposedly solved a dozen different ways by independent investigators. Huh. But for me, it became something else. I'd read every report, studied every map, stared at those odd FBI sketches of the man. I told myself it was just curiosity, but that wasn't it. It was a kind of haunting, by someone I'd never met, and a story that refused to end. One night, years ago now, with time on my hands, I found a thread buried deep in an old corner of the internet, the Paracrypt forum. The post was titled, "The Stone Tape Theory. I see D.B. Cooper every November." The writer claimed to be a farmer near Ridgefield, Washington. He said he'd seen the same figure every November, descending through the rain, landing at the same meadow, always searching for something he never found. He explained carefully the stone tape theory, the idea that emotion, especially trauma, can impress itself upon materials like stone and soil and wood. And under the right conditions, light, temperature, humidity, all similar to the day it first occurred, the event can replay, like a recording trapped in the land itself. He wrote, "Think of it like a tape left in a player. Only the recording is of a desperate moment, trapped in the earth. And when the weather hits just right, it plays again, and sometimes someone sees it." "I've seen it," he said. Well, I laughed when I first read it, laughed out loud. Who the hell is this guy? But then I felt it, a small, irrational pull. The part of me that wanted to know, that same pulse of curiosity that kept me awake on countless November nights. So I sent a message, and 2 hours later, I was planning a trip out to meet him. I flew out of Heathrow 2 days later. Yeah, that's right. Even some of us Brits are obsessed with that man of yours. Oh, yeah. So I fly out. I meet him, Joe. Bright, articulate, quite a character. An ex-engineer in the aerospace industry, now farming, almost as a hobby. He has a measured voice, a precise, calm tone. He's a man marked forever by what he claimed he had seen more than once. The meadow looked ordinary. Mud, reeds, a cycling fence, the faint smell of cedar, and old wet hay. November 2026 was a month off yet. We made arrangements, and I found a place to stay. But then, last week in October, I get an email from him. "In hospital, not feeling too bright. Help yourself to the meadow anyway, friend," he said. "Good Cooper hunting." The days dragged towards the 4 days either side of the 24th, the period, he argued, in which the phenomena occurred most often. It was on the 23rd, the second day of my vigil, when the wind began to turn. The forecast looked perfect. Heavy rain, low clouds, lightning near the Columbia River, the kind of storm where you can feel the air pressing against your lungs. But of course the doubts rolled in. Logic came to stay. Cynicism took up living rent-free in my head. Long, cold, darkening hours passed. But then, the mist thickened over the tree line. And through the descending night fog, something moved. My heart started to pound so hard, I could hear it in my ears. I told myself, it's imagination. What you're seeing now is pure, unadulterated imagination. You've stood at this too long. You're just seeing patterns. But a dark shape fell, too slowly, as though gravity had forgotten its purpose. A parachute bloomed open, white as smoke, drifting downward in eerie silence. I remember thinking, impossible, someone's staging this, or it's a trick, or my mind. But I didn't care. I watched as the figure hit the ground lightly and began moving in anxious, looping circles, hands pressed to his head, eyes scanning the ground as if searching for something lost. The money bag? I shouted, but the sound vanished into the rain. It was like yelling at a photograph. As useless, I wrote later, as reasoning with a reflection. And then suddenly, the figure was gone, leaving just me, the meadow, and the memory of an experience that confounded and exhausted my reason. Days passed before the world seemed to resemble once more its logical, reliable form. A few weeks later, another email. Looks like I won't be coming home, friend. Hope it went well. You're welcome any time there. Regards, from Joe. I returned every November after that. Of course I did. Late Novembers became a ritual. Watching storms roll in, pacing the same dirt tracks. 2027, the figure appeared again, descending, searching, fading. By 2028, the meadow was part of my calendar. I knew its soil, its smell, its moods. But that year nothing appeared. I put it down to an unseasonably warm November, and Joe's suggestion that the whole phenomena was dependent upon the weather correlating with that of the event itself. The next decade, frustratingly, followed a similar rhythm, with anticipation and reflection, followed by disappointment. Then in 2040, the same angle of wind, the same rain in the air, he was back, descending through the darkness sky, beneath his wreath-like canopy. He moved differently this time. He landed holding a bag, intact, heavy-looking. The fall winded him. He looked up. Towards me. I swear to God he did. And then he ran. Not in circles. Not trapped in a desperate loop of searching. But straight into the trees. Into the trees. Into the night. Into history. The recording had seemingly evolved. I stood there stunned. The thunder that followed was louder than any before. It felt final somehow, as if the tape had reached its end, and the world itself had exhaled. I spent 3 more Novembers there, but nothing. The storms come and go, but the meadow stayed empty, ordinary. Yet occasionally, I still attend for those 4 or 5 days each November. Habit, I suppose. Hope, maybe. The fences are collapsed, the barn's empty, the grass grows higher each year. It seemed Joe had a lot in acreage, but little in the way of friends or family. I tell myself it's all over, that whatever was trapped there, well, it's run its course now. But you know, every so often, when the weather turns, I feel that same strange pull. And I make the flight, I make the drive. Once, driving back through the rain, having seen nothing again, I saw someone at the roadside, a man in a suit, tireless, soaked through, no umbrella, no car, just walking. I thought about doing what every good Samaritan would do, but something in me said, keep going. The figure lifted a hand in a kind of polite acknowledgement. Or perhaps it was a warning. And just like that, he vanished into the rain.